Good morning, Dylan. Today, well, I weighed in at like 113.6 or something. It's 113.4 the other day, which is the lightest I've been since starting this cut. Also, I shaved all this off and do a little jawline check. It's not quite back, but it's getting there. We're getting closer. Today's gonna be equipped bench. Hopefully get that up around like 230 top set, somewhere in there. And then I'll do a whole bunch of stuff. We got some tempo squats, overhead press, some delts, some pull downs, some biceps, some abs, just all the things. But yeah, we'll see you there shortly. All right, bench done for the week. And it went quite well. We went up from last week. I think last week we topped out around 225, I want to say. So we're up 7.5 this week. I don't know if I got quite as close to a touch with the 232. I think I kind of panicked a little bit. My 225 was the best rep of the day. I kept my left shoulder, the one that has some issues right now, tends to like slip out as I press, and you can see that happen on the 232, and then it's like slower to lock out. But the 225, I kept everything really, really well locked in, and it was a nice, smooth, symmetrical lockout, which is what I'm looking for, right? I think that usually indicates that I'm being more patient off the chest, which in equipped is a real thing. And I think even in some cases with raw lifting, I think everybody wants to like move the bar super fast. And I think sometimes a little bit of patience in the first like inch or two, just like you would in the deadlift, just like I try to coach people in the squat, that first little bit, if you can set yourself up to be in a good position throughout the rest of the lift so you don't get ahead of yourself, right? I think on the bench, a raw lifter who rushes generally is gonna be like flaring out ahead of the bar and has more of a chance of kind of dumping it and getting really stuck from that. Overall, it just went really well, right? I'm happy to be able to stack some progress. I think that might be one of the things that I love about powerlifting the most. One of the things that keeps me coming back to it all these years later, right? Like I did my first competition in 2012 after having trained the power lifts without a real purpose for probably 2 years or so at that point. So I've been doing powerlifting for 15 years at this point, give or take, which is a lot. And, I think there are maybe not that many people who stick with it for that long, right? I think a lot of people like kind of come into powerlifting, and some people even excel and like break records and like junior world champions and stuff like that, and then just kind of don't want to do it anymore. And I don't think that's any less than, I'm not trying to cast any judgment on anybody for, getting into stuff, getting out of stuff. I've done it a ton with different hobbies. But for me, I think, I don't know, powerlifting called to me on such a level when I was like looking for something. Like I think there was a period in time where I was really kind of feeling pretty aimless, right? Like I didn't really have a point or purpose or thing to work towards. I was in and out of university programs, didn't really find any place I felt like I belonged. And with powerlifting, I found that right away. I found a community of people, and I met a bunch of awesome folks that, I'm still friends with and or coach or work with or lift with to this day, years and years and years and years and years later. And I also found something that allowed me to, in some ways, like give my very mundane daily routines and tasks a point. You know what I mean? I think it's easier for me to organize my life around powerlifting and say, like, this is why I have to get up early. It's the worst analogy of like a very cringy Fight Club, like this Fight Club became the reason you cut your nails short kind of idea. But like in a sense, sure, it did. It just gave me a lot of purpose, right? This is why I get up early and do some cardio. This is why I need to like be more active. This is why I need to eat better foods and pay attention to what I'm putting in my body. It gives me an outlet for a lot of like stress. It gives me a place where if it's going well, and most of the time it goes pretty well, or at least I'm able to like lose myself in it. It gives me a place where a lot of the other stresses of daily life aren't as much of a thing. They aren't as much of a factor. So yeah, I don't think I'll ever not lift or not want to compete or not point myself at some sort of goal. And even if I do for periods of time, I think I will find a goal pretty quick. Otherwise, it just doesn't feel as, like it still kind of feels aimless. So, yeah. Oh. That's enough of that. I think someone getting into powerlifting can learn a lot about like critical analysis, right? Trying to decipher, trial and error, your different technique cues or programming styles, trying to figure out, how to rate RPE in and of itself is an exercise in like being honest with yourself, right? Because I think that's maybe a really big thing, right? Learning how to be honest with yourself even when it's not the most, like not sugarcoating it, you know what I mean? Like doing a set and being like, that was really hard. I probably shouldn't go up. Because if you go up and you're not honest with yourself, it's gonna suck. Like objectively, you know what I mean? Like you'll hit that limit. So it teaches you a lot about honesty with yourself and, you know, assessment. Not to mention, you know, all the standard cliche things like, you know, discipline and perseverance, all that kind of stuff, you know. The big one we always talk about is the resilience through resistance, right? Like in the same way that if you take a muscle and you stress it the right amount over and over and over again, eventually it gets way better at handling stress, right? Or at least that stress. And I think people are similar, right? I think you get better at handling stress if you stress yourself in the right ways, right? If you do hard workouts, if you know, do training sessions when you don't want to, or when it feels tough to do them, you know, trying to work through pain and injuries and stuff like that, teaches you a lot about, again, like thinking outside of the box, coming up with creative solutions. I've talked a lot before about how the squat kind of like parallels life, and I think, you know, other lifts as well, but you get to that point where like it gets a little stuck, right? It gets really hard. Maybe you're not certain that you're gonna make it to the top of a lift, and you kind of have to decide whether you're gonna keep pushing or whether you're not going to. And I don't even think it's that the right answer is always keep pushing, no matter what. But sometimes in powerlifting, you get those reps where you're like, it's not worth fighting through that, right? I'm in a peak right now. I'm gonna take a double instead of a triple. I'm just not gonna go for this third one. That's fine. But other times where, you know, you're on the platform and you get stuck and you're like, well, if I don't make this, I don't hit my total, I don't hit my PR, I don't place, I don't whatever. And I think in those instances, you gotta choose to be like, I trained for this. I'm gonna push till my head pops off. And you know, a lot of the times if you can believe it, not just think it, but like actually believe it and know that you've done everything up to that point, then you make your lift, right? We can just pretend I did an overhead press today. Oh, that's so uncomfortable. And there you have it. Another day down. I think we're going to try to get the equipped deadlift on Friday this week. So look forward to that. Vliggity vlog as well. Also, what do you guys think I should get tattooed here? I want to line this up, like get a tattoo that kind of lines up my jawline. I don't know what I want to get yet. I'm going to regret this, but leave your ideas in the comments. Yeah, it was a good day. Really good day. Again, I've been enjoying training like crazy since I moved over back to Equipped. It just has very much revitalized my training. It feels good. I'm enjoying it. My body's like, I mean, it's not great. Shoulder's still a bit of a mess. Knees still present. But those are just, I think, kind of my reality at this point. So, I don't know. What are you gonna do? Yeah, feeling good. Like I said in the intro, body weight is the lowest it's been in quite some time. So the cut's going successfully. And, you know, still making some upward trends on some of my lifts, both equipped and raw throughout this block. I have a qualifying meet that I'll have to do in December, and then equipped nats in March. So that's the goal and the game plan right now. But yeah, that's all. I talked a lot in this video. We're just gonna let her roll. Hope everybody enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.